All right, the impact of inflation on the housing market, and it's not what you guys think. It's completely different. And in fact, I'm going to throw a little whirlwind in for you guys tonight to explain to you guys exactly what inflation is doing to the housing market and how it's affecting everybody right now. I tell you guys, all politics aside, but be careful who you vote for this year. Right now, the Democrats are trying to put rent controls in place for housing, and I think that's great for some people, but really bad for investors. And here's the problem: is that most people don't understand that it's the entrepreneurs and it's the business people that keep the economy afloat. So if you kill the business people who employ 85% of our population, you kill the economy. And so just be careful, just be careful how you guys vote this year. That's all I got to say. Now, let's really get into how inflation is affecting the housing market. And I'm going to throw a little caveat in here that I don't think people are really aware of. And they think that it's housing prices in itself. So, when you look at it, people go, well, housing has gotten too expensive. Okay. Now let's compare a couple things here. I want to show you guys something on a simple theoretical example. Let's say you were going out to buy a home. You're an end user. Okay. Now I want you to also look at it from two perspectives. You're looking at it from the end user perspective, because obviously the vast majority of people that are buying homes, it's their number one largest investment and largest asset. But, okay, as an investor or as a builder, because we talk about ground up construction, buying a piece of land, building a house. And if you've ever tried to sell a rental home, a fix and flip, a ground up new build, or just your own personal residence, there's a psychological dilemma inside everybody's brain. And when I say everybody, it's because it's the vast majority. I shouldn't say everybody, but the vast majority of everybody's brain. And I would say it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about 95% of people selling homes. And they don't understand this, and they don't have the right coaching, and they don't have the right direction. So I'm going to teach you something so that you can educate your broker, because even most brokers are very unsophisticated when it comes to selling a house for somebody, because they advocate for one person, and that one person is themselves. They're advocating for their own personal commission, because most realtors are in survival mode. The average realtor nationwide makes like $15,000 a year, truth be told. And so they're broke. That said, they're advocating for the commission, not you, the end user. So with the exception, there is an exception to that. There are more sophisticated, higher level real estate brokers, and they're smart, and they know what I'm going to teach you right now. So if they don't know what I'm going to teach you right now, then do not do business with realtors who don't know this. Okay. Now, when we talk about affordable housing, people sit back and they go, Jerome, to make a house affordable, I need to lower the price of the house. And I say, no, you don't. You don't need to lower the price of the house. You don't need to lower the price of the house at all. You need to educate your buyer, but you don't ever lower the price of the house. Here's the thing, guys. Where I live, there's only $1 million homes right around me. Okay. And the reason I tell you this is because a homeowner came in and they need to sell their house. Their house is about 1/3 the size of our house. It's about 3,100 square feet. And they listed their house at $1 million, dropped it to $800,000. Now that house is $760,000, and they dropped it $40,000 just in 2 days. 2 days. They just need to sell it. The guy is a physician. He's trying to get out of town, and he's just fire selling the house. And so I sit back now as a buyer, this is where you pick up deals. I told my wife told me, I was outside swimming, doing my nighttime cardio, my heart 25 that I do every night. And I'm outside swimming. She comes out, she goes, man, this house is for sale. And she showed me the house. I was like, no way. That house is gorgeous. It has all the wood windows that we have in our house. And I mean, it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It has a diamond finish. It's beautiful. It's definitely over $1 million home. And she goes, they just keep dropping it. And I said, just keep watching it, because if it drops low enough, I'll just go write a check for that thing, because I'll end up sitting on it. I'll rent it for a short time. It doesn't even need much renovations. I think it needs a little bit a little bit of this and that, but it doesn't need much. So when people fire sell, that's your opportunity to buy, but that doesn't make housing affordable. Now, if you're buying, you have to buy to sell, or you have to buy as an investment to make a profit. So you yourself will benefit from it, but it doesn't make housing affordable. Here's why. Because let's take a $750,000 house. Now I'm going to show you two components here, guys. Two components. Now follow me through this process, because if I lose you right here, you're going to get confused. Now, if I lose you right here, just rewind the video and then comment down below, #repeat. That means you went back and you've repeated the video to understand this fully. Now, I recommend to most of you guys, because scientists tell us that we retain about 7 to 10% of everything we are on the first time basis. So let's say you're Einstein, you only get 50% of this. That means you still have to watch this twice. Okay. So let me explain this to you guys. The affordability component doesn't come in to the bottom line of the price. It gives opportunity to buyers, investors, people like you and I that are moving real estate, making profits on it. But it doesn't move the needle for your end users, and it doesn't move the needle for you. So if you buy that property at a discounted price, let me explain to you how to resell it for a profit. Because when let's say that house is $750,000 and it sells for $750,000. Okay. Now, when it sells for $750,000, okay. Now, when it sells for $750,000, if you take a mortgage calculator on today's current 30-year fixed mortgage, today's 30-year fixed mortgage is at 7.582%. So if you look at what is today's 30-year fixed mortgage today on July 15th, you will see that it's 7.582%. That's the average nationwide today. So if you take that 30-year fixed mortgage, your payment, okay, not including insurance, not including payment and interest, not P&I, and not including insurance or property taxes, okay? So just your payment alone on a 30-year amortized loan that has a fixed rate, you're going to be looking at $5,286 a month, okay? Now, let's say that you say, it's not affordable, so I'm going to make it affordable. I'm going to drop this house just another $30,000, okay? So if you buy land, build houses, and you sell it in the sweet spot, and you drop your house $30,000, saying, you know what, I'm going to make this house more affordable, Jerome. I'm going to go out, I'm going to find me a buyer. I'm going to drop the house price $30,000. You still won't sell your home. And I'll show you why. Because if you plug in that same mortgage rate today, it drops the house payment down. You're going to have a $720,000 mortgage, and it's going to drop the payment down to $5,075 a month. That's a difference of $211 per month. Okay, that's it, just $211 per month. Now think about it like this. Most of you guys, and I know, don't be bullshitting me, you guys are going to Starbucks. You're spending, $10 a day on Starbucks. You alone. If you have family, you're spending more. So if you just, let's say you have you and your spouse, and each of you guys are spending between $7 and $8 a day on Starbucks. That's $16 a day times 30 days in a month times 30. That's $480. I don't even pay for your Starbucks, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now, truth be told, $211 ain't pot shit. Okay. So now look. Now, here's how you look at an affordability component. The feds are screwing you guys. And I'll tell you guys that the Federal Reserve is non-constitutional. It's a non-federal agency, and it's ran and controlled by our central banks. That's right. JP Morgan, Citibank, Merrill Lynch, all the big guys control our central banks. Okay. So Jerome Powell is sitting back. First time in history, guys, first time in history that the federal government has allowed the feds to control interest rates on our behalf. And so right now, your elected officials have allowed the Federal Reserve, to go in and regulate interest rates. It's the first time that they have controlled this. Okay. Now, usually they open up the open market and the economy fixes itself. And the smartest thing to do right now is for the feds to say, no more Jerome Powell. We're going to control this, and we're going to go ahead and open up interest rates so we can lower them back down slightly. Okay. So that way, because what they're doing right now is not controlling inflation. What they're doing right now is causing inflation. Okay. It's the contrary to what everybody believes. People go, oh, wow, they're just trying to fix inflation. Bullshit. Bullshit. 6 months ago, when I was building single family homes, I got a price on our cabinets. My price for cabinets was $18,000 for a beautiful custom home, all handcrafted, hand finished cabinets, hand stained, hand finished. Been using them for years. This time, I went through over 5 estimates, and the lowest price that I found was $26,000, most of which were in the $30,000 range. So I moved to prefab cabinets. Now we use the high-end prefab, but even the prefab cabinets, we bought them and had that and priced out installation and everything. Prefab cabinets were going to cost us in excess of $30,000. We landed up picking them up for just over $16,000, all in with installation. We're at $21,000. Still $3,000 more than we paid just 6 months ago for the same type home, same square footage, same everything, but still $4,000 less than our lowest estimate. Okay, so you have to get very strategic. That's one example, guys. Now there's tons of them. I can just go down the book on inflation. How you guys been to the grocery store? You guys paid for a loaf of bread lately? I remember when 2 years ago a loaf of bread was like $2. Now it's like $5. Okay, that's not 12% inflation. That's like 100+% inflation. Okay, now if that's what you call controlling inflation, is the Fed's increase in interest rates, that's bullshit, because it's not controlling inflation. In fact, inflation is just as bad and worse as it's ever been. And now let me show you the reality of how you actually sell your house, sell your investment. So if we land up picking up this house and we pick it up for, let's say, low 700,000, 750, we're going to land up sitting on that thing for just a short time, and then we'll put it back on the market for over $1 million. We'll put a tiny bit, and we don't really do fix and flips. We just know the market. So if we see opportunity and I can smell opportunity, I'll pick that thing up and I'll make, $250,000 in just a few months. And this is how I'll sell it right here, because lowering the price doesn't sell the home. What sells the home is lowering the cost of money, because when money's expensive, you're screwed. When money is expensive, the vast majority of people can't afford the cost of that money. So when interest rates go up, what happens is the expense to service that debt goes up. And when the cost to service that debt goes up, it kills people. And here's why. If you take that same $750,000 mortgage, okay, and you take today's 30-year fixed mortgage rate at 7.582%, and you multiply that by $750,000, your interest service alone is $56,865. Okay, your interest payment alone annually is $56,865. You divide that by 12, your monthly payment of interest only. Okay, that doesn't include the amortization of the 30 years. This is interest only, guys, is $4,739. Okay, now write that number down. It's $4,739. Now, here's affordability, guys. Interest rates. This is how you sell your homes right now. Because if the feds aren't going to do it, I'm going to teach you guys how to manipulate mortgages so that you can sell your real estate at the same price you've always sold it, make your profits and proceeds, and then can reinvest those profits and proceeds into additional investments, okay? Do not lower the price of the house. That $30,000 decrease in price takes away from $30,000 from your bottom line, only saves your end user. It only saves your end user $200. Here's what you do. You go in and you offer them a buy down of $14,000 to $15,000. Now, I'm going to give you a simple theoretical example. This isn't 100% perfect because the cost of money every single day changes. Now, from bank to bank, I want you guys to understand this. I'm going to teach you this right now. So when you go in and you interview your lender, yes, that's right, you interview them. They don't interview you. If you have a 700 credit score above, you interview them and you ask them, if I want to buy down my mortgage rate today, how much would it cost me to buy it down 2%? Okay. Now, on average, it costs about 1% of the total price of the mortgage. So if the mortgage is a $750,000 mortgage and it's 1%, that means it's going to cost you $7,500 one time to buy down your interest rate 1%. And what I'm telling people to do is buy it down 2%. And you, as a seller, offer to buy it down for your end buyer by 2%. So if that house costs us $750,000 and we buy that rate down 2%, it's going to cost us approximately 2% of the mortgage. It's going to cost us approximately $15,000, okay, to buy down that rate. Now, here's the thing. Now, that's not 100% perfect. Like I said, I want to disclose that money trades at different prices every day, depending on the lender and how they're actually getting their money, how they're sourcing their money, and where they're getting their proceeds, their money from, is dependent on how they're going to charge you, the end buyer, for that money. And so most banks will charge about 1%, give or take. Okay. Depends on the day, depends how they're sourcing that capital. And so you want to interview multiple residential mortgage lenders. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you ask them. So go in and talk to like a Wells Fargo. Go in and talk to a Bank of America on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Go in and talk to your local credit union. Go in and talk to your local regional or just your local bank. Okay. And ask them what it would cost you to buy down that mortgage rate. And here's why. Because if you buy it down just 2% for your buyer, and you take that exact same $750,000 loan, we didn't lower the price. We offered them a $15,000 mortgage buy down incentive. Okay. So now you go in and you offer this to your buyer as a buyer's incentive. And now you buy down their rate on their behalf 2%. And when you educate your realtor and you educate your broker and you do that interest rate buy down, let's say you buy down that rate to 5.582%, because today national average on a 30-year fixed mortgage is 7.582. So if you just bring that rate down 2% to 5.582, and you multiply that out by the $750,000 that mortgage payment is going on, that's going to bring it to $41,865,000 per year on just the debt service alone. That's a $15,000 savings in 12 months on a 30-year fixed note. That means if you multiply that $15,000 times 30 years, you're saving them over $450,000 friggin' dollars, guys. That's affordable. Okay. Now, on a monthly basis, here, let me show you guys on a monthly basis, because it took you 1 year for them to recuperate the $15,000 that it cost you one time to buy down their rate 2%. But here's what it does for them on a monthly basis. You divide that $41,865 by 12, that brings their mortgage payment down to $3,489 a month. You subtract that from the $4,739 a month that they would pay at normal rates, that's a $1,250 savings every friggin' month. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Imagine what your end user can do with an extra $1,250 a month. That's a brand new car payment, ladies and gentlemen. That's a nice friggin' car payment. And so understand that if you can bring the cost of a home down just on interest alone by $1,250 a month, that is life-changing for the vast majority of the United States. Because did you know that 65% of our population is within 60 days of delinquency and default of their home? That means that if you change the income of the average median person by over $300 a month in less than 60 days, they'll be delinquent on their loans. The vast majority, 65% of our population, lives month to month, paycheck to paycheck, and they have a very small variance, ladies and gentlemen. If you lower their interest rate, that is life-changing. That's affordability. If the feds opened up and allowed interest rates to come back down, inflation would fix itself. The problem is the feds allow the Federal Reserve to have their hands meddling in all of our business and all of our finances. And Mr. Jerome Powell, with all his bullshit, is going in there controlling our interest rates, and it's screwing you guys, the end buyers. See, I won't have that bullshit. I'll just pay, people with money will just pay cash for stuff until money becomes more affordable. What we've done, like on our multifamily builds, we're like, screw it. We're not going to take on this debt. I'll just give equity away on my deals. I might land up losing some of the equity on my property projects during the time being, but it de-risks my projects. It helps me continue moving forward, because the only person that loses are those that stay stagnant. Some people retract. I don't retract. I keep going forward. I just strategize. And so when you learn how to strategize, you understand how money works. You don't have to go in, and you don't have to give away the money to the feds. You don't go in and pay those bullshit interest rates. I'll just sit back on a property like this. This is one of my multifamily builds. This is the set of prints for my West Camelback project right here. Okay. This is a $75 million project. This is a $50 million build. I'd rather just give 50% of this away to an investor, because if I do that, I retain 50% of it, and I have zero debt service, and it de-risks my project completely. And now my investor, they're in it with me. They're in it with me. I pay them no monthly payments. They're in it with me. They bring the capital. I bring the development skills. I de-risk my project, and I go out and I make money on this bad boy for friggin' ever. And then when money's cheap, then we do a cash out refi and pull out like $15 million tax-free. That's right, tax-free, because it's a loan. And that's where we make our money, ladies and gentlemen. And so you have to understand the money game. And the biggest problem in the world today is most people don't understand the money game. And when you don't understand the money game takes advantage of the average person, the vast majority of the United States. So understand that it's your job to learn and educate yourself. It's your job to pay attention, go back and rewatch this entire video 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Show it to your wife, show it to your husband, show it to your children, and explain to them that inflation is real, but it's the inflation of the cost of money that's screwing our nation. It's not the cost of homes itself. I just showed it to you guys. I just explained to you guys that a $30,000 reduction on the overall price of your house is not going to save anybody jack shit. It's going to save them $200 a month. But if you can lower that interest rate by 2%, it saves them over $1,250 a month. That's life-changing for the vast majority of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, inflation is real. It's how you choose to manipulate, how you utilize money that saves it in your bottom line, in your pocketbooks, and keeps your profits alive. Profits out there for the taking. The question is, are you prepared? Do you know? How do you strategize? How do you move forward? And how do you economically pallet these purchases for a W, for a big fat win? You can sit on the sidelines and wait until the economy's right, and then you'll be facing competition again. Or you can position yourself to go out right now today, take advantage of what the market is bringing, and it's lower prices, because people don't understand this stuff. So they keep lowering their prices. Go buy that stuff and then put it on the market for fair market value. Raise that price back up, educate your sellers, give them a buyer's incentive, lower that price, and cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You take those profits all the way to your bank account, because your money's in somebody else's profits. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for you to take your money back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys. God bless you guys. If you like this content and want more of it, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Pound that thumbs up button. Give us some love. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. And ladies and gentlemen, God bless you guys. Good night. America, we love you. To the red, white, and blue, God bless you all. Go out there and continue compounding your success.